This crested pigeon just happened to come into view just as I started to film this video. So I decided to put it on camera for a little bit so that you could get a closer look at it. But yeah, I was in the process of filming and I stopped my video and then I saw this little crested pigeon and I started filming it. But this video is really more about the pukekos than the crested pigeon. I just thought it was a cute little thing to put in there. It sort of acts up a little bit in this video. I've got it. I'm focusing the camera on it, but yeah, it's hard to pick a thing to focus on because it's sort of a spur of the moment thing. You can't really predict what the birds will be doing at any given time. I did film another video that was meant to show their beak development, but unfortunately, there's few too many issues with the camera moving around, so I'm not sure if I'm even going to upload that one. Yeah, like I did notice. Oh, here's some black ducks. Like there were ibises. There were some ibises that tried to attack these birds earlier, but I didn't catch it on camera. It happened twice, and they got chased off by the pukeko, like the elder pukekos. There's the ibis. Yeah, there was a few issues with birds because they were attracted by the smell of food, which I don't know. Like they must have been hungry this afternoon, but the ducks came out of the water as well, and but yeah, I mean, the whole point and purpose of this video was, and the previous one was to film the wing development of these birds, but it's not particularly visible because they're not really fluffing their wings out. But definitely their wings are almost down to where their tails are, which is like sort of half their wingspan. Here's the crested pigeon again. I'm sort of filming around a park bench on a bicycle, so um, I'm trying to get it on camera. It's a little bit shaky. I don't really like editing portions of my video out unless I really have to because um, it can mess things up when I then try and sort of put them back together again. So, but yeah, so here's just a little break from me talking about the pukekos. We're just going to watch this little crested pigeon do its thing. Um, it's a pity they're not very loud singers, but um, there's a video montage that I wanted to add on to my last video, but I might actually add it to this one because I want you to see. So I just thought that I would show you a montage of clips of the pukekos at the stage where they're at now with their development. I've deliberately slowed down this montage because the original sequence was only about 30 seconds long, so I had to use some software to slow it down. But yeah, if you look at this bird, I mean, I apologize for the lack of focus as well. Like, I wanted it to be a bit more focused, but I don't know why it sort of has come out like this. But if you look at the face of this bird, they're starting to look more and more like adults each day. And I really feel like they've almost lost their kind of young quality that they had when they were little chicks. And you can see in that first video, in that first image more than this one, just how much their beaks are starting to change as well, the shape of their beak, but also the color is gradually starting to change as well. And when you look at them alongside the adults, I mean, there's still a significant difference. With the adults, that little part at the top of the beak is actually grows up further onto their forehead, and it changes to a reddish color. At the moment, their beaks are still. Just a few weeks ago, their beaks were black, and now they've sort of become a greyish color. Like, and now when you look closely at these birds, you can almost see a bit of red starting to show through, and you can't actually see it in this particular photo, but as we move further along in the sequence, you'll see it, particularly in the last photo, the first and the last photo. I think it's the most obvious. But you can really see how the shape of their heads, their necks, and the beak has changed. And now we're moving towards, their wings are almost fully developed. Um, if you can see it a bit more clearly with the sun shining on this bird in this particular photo, you can see that the beak is not of solid black color anymore. When you compare it to the adult that's handing it the food, the adult has got a bright, bright red beak, and that's a mature adult pukeko. But when you look at the baby, its beak isn't really a black anymore. It's kind of has a grayish tinge, and there's kind of a pink undertone. And it's not that noticeable in the photo, but in person it's quite noticeable. And particularly it's starting at the top, very top of the beak. So the pink undertone is starting at where the head of the bird is. And I think it's going to sort of gradually move down the beak, and the beak is sort of gradually going to deepen into the deep shade of red that you see here on the adult bird. But yeah, it's an interesting process, and it's probably almost even more interesting than watching the wings develop, because I have a feeling with the wing footage, it's difficult to catch them flapping their wings, and the wings are just going to grow in, and then one day they're just going to be long. So, I mean, I was excited about the wings, but the beak, it's interesting how much of a change, and also their eyes are black at the moment. If you can you see the purple tinge at the top of the beak? That purple tinge is the start of the beak changing color. Um, you can definitely see some redness coming through, and it's definitely not red. It's still more of a pinkish tone that's coming through. But yeah, over the course of the next week or a couple of weeks, it's slowly going to change from blue black to sort of a reddish, a deep reddish kind of tone, like a crimson color almost, which is how the adults look. And their eyes are also going to start to change color, because pukekos actually don't have black eyes. The adults, you probably don't notice it in the videos, but their eyes are actually a red color. It's a similar crimson red to the beak color, which is quite unusual in animals to have red eyes. But except for the pupil, which is dark, their eyes are actually red. So yeah, I'm going to keep trying to film their wing development and their beak development, which is the next big change that's going to be happening over the coming weeks. But I really hope that you gain something from watching that.